Hey there, Aniki Shuru here, racial equity coach for online business owners who are ready to build a business that is racially equitable so they can be intentionally inclusive. I'm back on here after having taken a little break whilst we were launching my signature program, Represented, and also traveled away to attend a family wedding in Kenya. And so I'm freshly back and I'm excited to continue with these lessons that have proved to be a source of great information for my ongoing clients and students, and also new people who are discovering this work and wanting to do this work in a way that speaks to who they are in a gentle way, but also just because it's gentle doesn't mean that it is not powerful. And in that same notion, today's lesson, I want to talk about doing this work, or rather correcting with love. When it comes to racial equity work, what I have received in terms of feedback is that a lot of the teaching in this space is very much constant correcting what white folks are constantly getting wrong and what they need to understand. And that is something that I completely get. I get the frustration that Black folks feel when it comes to understanding, uh, allowing white people to understand the things that they experience, we experience, particularly when we're being marginalized, when we're being treated inequitably, and the frustration in trying to, explain the things that we go through and allowing white people to understand. It can get really frustrating, and that's why a lot of the time the correction may come across as though it's being really, you need to get this now, or we keep saying this, which has been said over and over again. And so there's a level of exhaustion, particularly with educators in this space, just feeling we have said this over and over again. When are you going to get on board? And so I am totally for that, and I get that. But I also understand that not everybody learns that way. Not everybody may necessarily listen from that lens of being called at in that way. There are others who tend to come along this journey hearing from a more gentler approach. And I think that is what has attracted a lot of my clients and my students to the work that I do, because it's that calling in approach. It's that approach of correcting with love, so to speak. And I have found that this is such an underutilized tool when it comes to building bridges, and understanding racial equity work. I often liken this work to when you are caring for a little child and they're learning how to do something for the first time. They're learning how to take their first steps. And it's how we encourage them when we're learning to discipline them. It's how we speak to them. How do we correct them when they make a mistake? And we want to teach them how to, through positive reinforcement. We wouldn't be like, oh, look at you, you touched that item, it's really hot now, you've been burnt and you've been injured. It's about correcting and teaching them with love and telling them, hey, if you touch this is really hot, and it will hurt you, and so be careful. And it's how you reinforce. And when they get hurt, how are you there for them? How do you pick them up so that they are not afraid to continue growing and progressing? And I find that when it comes to racial equity work, applying that same notion for me in particular as an educator has worked well, where I have seen, clients and students do something where they could have done better, calling them in with love, correcting them with love, and saying, I see what you were doing here. I understand, but that may not have been the best approach from this. How about looking at it from this perspective and explaining the whys behind that, and also holding space for the mistakes that they have made. And this is in no way giving room for fragility, because a lot of times we know that white fragility gets in the way, whereby somebody feels like I don't want to talk about this, or I am so hurt. And they take the victim perspective of, look at me, I am so sorry for what I have done. And now you become that victim, you start crying, and it completely takes away from what we're trying to fix or what the issue is. And now we begin focusing on you, the white person, and trying to, take away that pain and that anguish, and the focus truly being on you rather than the issue here. So it's not so much that you correct in love, that you forget what we're doing here, but it also requires the person who's being corrected to have a degree of maturity in that what they're being corrected in, they're taking that on board and they're seeing it from a different perspective. And so that's why I often feel that this is the missing link, that sometimes we are trying to teach everybody about racial equity the same way, not appreciating that people learn differently. We all have different learning styles, and we also have different temperaments. For me personally, I'm an empath, and so I tend to learn best when I am being called in, when I am being gently guided. And that's the same principle that I bring to my work. And so if this is work that you have been looking to do, but you have found that everywhere you're looking, it just feels a little bit like it doesn't match up with your energy, and you want to be in a space where you are being corrected with love, you're being called in rather than being called out, because this is what matches more with the human that you are. I'd love you to check out my program, Represented. It's a 10-week program where I walk you through how to build a business that is racially equitable so you can be intentionally inclusive. And the essence of this program is really talking to the person that you are and really unpacking some of the belief systems that you have grown up believing, you have grown up that have shaped the person that you are, really unpacking that and beginning to see how can you do better as you become more aware about race and building a business that is racially equitable. All the details are below this video. And if you have any questions, I look forward to hearing from you.